rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Welcome to episode 200 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast, the $2 transformation fix. Anyone who's been listening to any of my episodes know that we're all about the transformation, physical, mental, spiritual, men and women over 40 and over 50. And the more I'm doing this for myself and working with other people, the more often I have these interactions, the more often I set people up with a plan and, lay out the fundamental things that have to get done. The more I realize just how simple a $2 fix makes all the difference. So I shot a video for this I put it on the Facebooks the other day, and it really is simple. And I know it drives people crazy because I keep harping on it, but really the whole purpose of the video is I said, listen, at the end of the day, the moment you're ready to make a true transformation, where you want to make real changes, there's a tool, an anchor that is fundamental. And for me, it's as simple as a $2 journal from the dollar store. You can walk into any dollar store right now in Canada, and you can find a journal section. You can buy them for $2. In the States, probably get them for $1. Might not be 500 pages, but it doesn't matter. And that journal, that book, is so vital because what it does is it gives you a resource and an anchor and a tool to start the real changes that you need to do. And those changes come from within. The first thing I do when I work with anybody is I tell them that they have to have a journal. Don't show up to our programs at the gym without a journal. Don't show up onto one of my online things if we do a call without a journal. Because without a journal, nothing is going to happen. And the fundamental step in that journal is to open up that first page and just write down what it is that you want to do. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It shouldn't be perfect, especially if this is new for you. Just write down what is that goal that you want. What is it you want to change? Now, it might be, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds. Hey, I want to be happier. I think when people first start working with a journal, the goals or the desires they put are a little more superficial. But as you start to use a journal and start to get better at it and start to get deeper with it, and we start to be able to unravel what the true desires for change that we have are, then those notes start to change on the page. But it can't happen until we have that first act. And for me, I always tell people this. If I'm working with a group and we're starting a 6-week transformation or 10-week or 12-week, whatever it is we're doing, I tell people, the ones that are going to have the biggest success, go the distance, make the biggest changes, are the ones that are going to adapt the use of the journal. It has yet to be disproven by all the programs I've run over the years. The people that have made the most tremendous change, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, are the ones that started using a journal, got better at using a journal, and realized how important that tool is. Because it does make such a difference. Sitting down and taking just 5 or 10 minutes with the thoughts in your head and then putting them to paper is so powerful that it drives me crazy when people continue to resist me on it. And I get, hey, I don't normally do this. I don't like writing. I don't like reading. That's fine, which you might not like and dislike, but it doesn't change the fact of how effective it is. So there are certain things, and we want to make changes that we just have to change fundamental beliefs on if we're going to have those changes. You can sit there all day long and tell me you don't believe it and you don't believe that, and that's fine. But then I tell people, look in the mirror, and what you see is a physical and mental representation of what you do believe right now. So if you don't like what you see in the mirror physically, if you don't like what you see in the mirror or your internal mirror, if you don't like what you see there, then you need to come to the real truth and understanding that that's because exactly where you are now is because of your belief system. So if you don't like what's happening, then you have to understand that you have to change some of your beliefs. And in changing those beliefs and taking on new skill sets and doing different things, you're going to start to become different. You're going to start to create different results. What got you here is not going to get you there. We're in a society now that we can get away with a lot of stuff because there's safety nets, and we have things like secure jobs that we can't get fired from, and homes, and partners that'll help us, and a family network that'll allow us to be who we are. But if we didn't have all those safety nets, if you had to sit out there and say, hey, listen, if I don't get busy today, I don't eat. If I don't get busy today, I don't have a place to sleep. You would radically change. What you do throughout the day would radically become different. But the problem is we've made things too easy. There's 40-year-olds out there still live in the basement of their parents' house. That doesn't help anybody. I find I was talking to a parent the other day, and they were telling me how their 25-year-old is just having trouble finding themselves. And, they're in school, they're out of school and stuff. And I asked them, I said, well, listen, where does your son live? Oh, he lives at home. I said, does he pay rent? He goes, no. I go, there's your problem. He has no real need to evolve because his necessities are met. You want to see a kid get a part-time job? Stop giving them an allowance. Stop buying them everything. They'll get a part-time job pretty damn quick. The rule in our house, my kids are 16 and 18. My son's off to university in August, right? And I told my daughter the same thing, right? If you're not going to school, you're working. And if you're working, you're paying rent. Because it doesn't do them any good to baby them. And it's the same with us. How many people out there resent their job, can't stand what they're doing, but they're comfortable because they get that paycheck? And they realize, hey, I might not like my job, but I make a good salary, and the devil I know, and I know this, and I know that, and it's comfortable, is far more alluring than facing the unknown of having to get a different job or transitioning or maybe going somewhere and making less money. But the only way you're going to break free from those things is to sit down with yourself and write these things down. What's making you happy? What's making you miserable? What will make you happy? What are your thoughts? Did you have a good day? Did you have a bad day? What made it good? What made it bad? If we don't start slowing things down and start to break things down and start to create these little mini reports on our life and on our day and create a to-do list and a purpose and things like this, if we don't start planning these things, then we're at the mercy of all the forces of outside around us. We just get pushed around like a leaf in the wind. We need to become more purposeful. We need to do that. And to make things happen, you have to have a start point. You have to have an interruption in what you're currently doing if you want to make things change, if you want to do something differently. And to me, the journal is that tool. It's the thing that once you sit down and you open it up and you write down that first thought, that's the genesis, that's the beginning of the change. But then you have to come back to that journal repeatedly. In the morning, in the evening, repeatedly, whatever it takes. You need to start to really become really good at how you use your journal. The days where I work with my journal, I have a better day. I know it. The days where I don't, the days where I feel I get home and it's midnight and I found the day just didn't go the way I want, and I'm honest with myself, I realize because I didn't hit my journal the way I should. I haven't cracked it open. I looked at it in the morning. I didn't go back to it. That's the reality of it. And once you start to use it and you start to get the benefit from it, then you realize how valuable it is. But no matter that, if you don't stay with it, if you're not consistent, then all that positiveness and all that momentum is going to dissipate. When I deal with, with the guys and girls that I'm working with the challenges they want to do and the transformations, I have 4 rules in the morning. And if people follow these 4 basic rules, their chance of success for the day is magnified immensely. And the first rule is get up in the morning. Number 2 is go to the bathroom, void, drink some water, brush your teeth. The third rule is weigh yourself. And the fourth rule is prepare your food. Those are the first 4 steps I want everyone to do. The 5th step is have your journal and work with it. And the reason why I put those other steps before the journal is because it's the right start, and it's the start right from the moment you get out of bed. It's a natural flow. You get up, you go to the bathroom, you go from the bathroom, go to your scale, which is usually in your bathroom, and then you go downstairs and you prepare your food while you're making your coffee or whatever you're drinking in the morning. But what that also does, now you're in a pattern. You've created a 4-step process that sets the tone, that puts you into that productivity mode. The 5th thing, the 5th beetle, is crack open that journal. Spend at least 5 minutes, if not half an hour with it. Then you're already engaged. You already have some accomplishment. You've gotten up. You've started your day. You've weighed in. So there's some accountability. You've got your food, your 3 meals. I always say 3 meals. People say, yeah, but I usually always walk out of the house with 3 meals, because you never know what's going to happen in your day. You might get sidetracked. You might have to work overtime. You might get called away. Have those 3 meals. So now you've got those 4 steps that you've done. You're in the moment now. You're in that momentum, in the groove of accomplishing steps. So the 5th step, the journal, is the next evolution. It's just the natural next step. Because you got to sit down and eat your breakfast. You got to sit down and drink your coffee. So instead of going through all your emails and your Facebook posts and see how many, likes and dislikes you have on your latest post, crack open that journal first. Go to that first page. What's the goal you're working on? Go to yesterday's entry. What did you do? How was your day? And then create a couple steps to work forward. But just sitting there and putting yourself in that mind space where you're making yourself aware of what you're trying to do, what your purpose is, you already got 4 positive steps into that day happening, the chance for you to succeed for the day is greatly magnified. You're in the zone. You've pre-programmed your mind. You're going out into the world with your purpose. It's going to be a lot harder for that world and that influence out there, the outside world, to push you around and blow you off course, because you're coming out set to go. The journal is so important. What I also like about the journal is a physical representation. When I have my journal on my desk, I see it. Every time I see it, it's a link, it's an anchor. It reminds me, a visual cue of what I'm looking to do, what I'm working on. And sometimes that's enough to keep you from distraction. It's enough to realign your purpose for the day. It's enough to bring you back on course. The problem I have with a lot of the apps on the phone is that it's hidden within your phone, because that phone you look at has probably 50 apps or more. From banking to porn, from social media to porn. So if you have a little note section in the back of that phone, it's lost behind all that porn. At the end of the day, right, when we look at our phone, we don't think of each and every app. When we look at our journal, we see it on the corner of our desk. It reminds us, it anchors us. This is what I'm doing. Guys, the most important $2 fix you'll ever spend. It's the jumping off point. It's the starting point. It's that anchor. If you're not doing it, trust me, go out and start doing it. If you haven't been doing it, get back to doing it. And if you have been doing it, I guarantee you, if you take the next minute, pause this and just think about how far you've come in the last 30, 60, 90 days, and whatever it is you're working on, I want you to think about that. And I want you to understand it's because of that journal. All the work you've done, all the effort you put in, it's phenomenal. But that journal is a starting point. That journal is your compass. you're moving in the right direction the majority of the time if you're using your journal. Fight that urge not to do it. Get over yourself on this. Some people go out and spend $100 on a journal. That's great, but be really good at it. It's like the guy that goes out and buys a $400 driving wood driver. Jesus, I haven't golfed in a while. You know me, guys, I like to golf. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. I have the same average driver I've had for the last 10 years. In fact, I usually replace a club when I break it, or lose it, because I don't golf enough, but I really enjoy it. But I don't, under any illusion, ever think that the next $450, I'm probably cheap now, $800 Callaway driving, club driver is going to solve my game. It's going to give me 20 more yards into the bush, right? So same thing, don't go and spend $100 on a journal. Don't give in to that, I'm going to spend my way out of this. Go Spartan. Go out and buy a cheap journal. Earn that journal. Build your skill with the journal. And then when you replace it with a little bit better of a journal, right? Because your skill set's getting better and you're seeing the value and the importance of it. So now give it a little more value. Make it something. There's a couple journals I use. I usually just buy 5 or 10 of them off Amazon. I like them to be the same. Nothing more frustrating. My kids got me a really nice one for my birthday. I loved it. I filled it. I can't even find the refill for it. That pisses me off. But at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Go to the dollar store right now. For $10, you can come out with a whole armful of journals. I use a journal for my podcast. I make notes about the episodes of what we're doing. I have a journal that I use for work, the tasks I want to do. But then I have an overall journal that I try to put all that stuff in, all my thoughts on what I'm trying to do. But it didn't start that way. It started with a little notebook. And it's kind of cool. The other day I was cleaning up some boxes in the office where I store, old papers and stuff. And I found some just to-do list journals. That's what I used to do back earlier years ago. It was like a to-do list journal. Got to do this, got to do this, got to do that. And then I would write stuff every once in a while. And then I'd find a box that's got one from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's always fun to pull that out and look back and what was I thinking? What was I working on? Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh, we've come so far on this. It's kind of cool to do that as well. This $2 transformation fix, guys, is incredibly powerful. Go out and do it. Guys, that's all I have to say for now on that. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a positive 5-star review. Head on over to Iron Horse Gear and get your $2 transformation journal hoodie. Use the code word Silverback and save 20%. And as always, guys, work hard, motherfuckers, and I'll talk to you guys later.